one of our radiographic staff came running, barged into the room, which normally they would not do, and he said to me, "Madam, the Prime Minister has come to casualty." I said, "Let me go, that's not right." That was the thing that struck me immediately. And I saw Mr. R.K. Dhawan, who was Special Secretary to the Prime Minister, and Mr. Fotedar, and wailing and crying. And I said, "What's gone wrong?" But then I opened the casualty door. Where is the Prime Minister? Because I didn't see her. And they pointed a finger at me onto a trolley without a sheet, on which lay Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, soaked in blood right up to the face, and all you could identify was the white grey hair, strip of grey hair that she had, and the very sharp nose that she had, so that you could say, yes, this is Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Mr. Shankaranand, who was the health minister at that time, he got busy calling his political friends, so that they had to decide that if Mrs. Gandhi cannot be revived, then who's going to be the Prime Minister? The sari was all soaked in blood, so we needed a change of clothes. Told Sonia that you'll go home, please, and get a set of clothes so that we can change her clothes.
Hello and welcome to The Hindu. We have with us today Dr. Sneh Bhargava, the first and the only woman director so far of All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi. On 23rd June, she turned 95, and she is perhaps India's oldest woman author to have penned her memoir at this age. The book is called The Woman Who Ran AIIMS, published by Juggernaut, and is one of the most fascinating books that I have read in recent times. It is full of gripping stories and anecdotes, very racy to read, and that is what we are going to discuss with Dr. Bhargava today. So thank you very much, ma'am, for giving us the time, and welcome to the program. COVID kind of compelled you to stop working, and that is when you decided to write this book. So, how did you remember so much? Because the book has a lot of details. So how did you kind of collate things and these small things that you mention in the book? So did you have notes to refer back to, or you went back to your old friends to get some points? I mean, how did all that happen?
Yeah. My friends were urging me to write my memoirs. And my first reaction was, I haven't done anything that spectacular that I should sit and write my memoirs. I have done my work passionately and lovingly and enjoyed every moment.
I think the result is a wonderful book, and the opening chapter, of course, gives goosebumps. It is about the day when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was brought to the AIIMS emergency after being shot by her security guard. So 31st October 1984 was also your first day as the director of AIIMS. And she had, I have read in the book that she had cleared your appointment.
Yeah.
And it was such an irony that on your day one she's brought. Did you have any meltdown, ma'am, when you saw her?
Of course. But I knew I have to do something. So that meltdown had to be kept in the background. My only regret is I wasn't able to personally thank her. I was going to be the first woman who was going to be the director. There was gossip all around, particularly in the corridors of Nirman Bhavan, where the health ministry bureaucracy resides. Can a woman run AIIMS? And when I was
patriarchy was showing.
Yes. So when I was told that, I said, well, if Mrs. Gandhi can run the country, why can't I run AIIMS? I've been here 24 years, and That's what it was. That was at the back of my mind. Of course, on this particular day, 31st of October, 1984, when one of our radiographic staff came running, barged into the room, which normally they would not do, and he said to me, "Madam, the Prime Minister has come to casualty." So I thought, this is not right. The Prime Minister will not come without security. And
It's
if
a protocol, I think.
Yeah. So I have no information that she is coming to casualty without my knowledge, then there's something wrong. So
was there any thought what could be wrong? Did you immediately think of anything?
No, I just didn't think of anything. I said, let me go. This is not right. That was the thing that struck me immediately. And casualty is a few steps away from the Department of Radiology. So I rushed to the casualty, opened the door, and I saw Mr. R.K. Dhawan, who was Special Secretary to the Prime Minister, and Mr. Fortedar. But he and Dhawan were standing outside the anteroom of the casualty and wailing and crying. And I said, what's gone wrong? But then I opened the casualty door and saw two frightened young residents sitting there who were on duty in casualty. And I said, where is the Prime Minister? Because I didn't see her. And they pointed a finger at me onto a trolley without a sheet on which lay Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, soaked in blood right up to the face, and all you could identify was the white strip of gray hair that she had, and the very sharp nose that she had, so that you could say, yes, this is in Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So I looked at the boys and said, have you called anyone? So they said, yes, we have called the operation theatre and surgeons are coming down. So while I was still there, within a couple of minutes, two senior surgeons from the operation theatre came down, and I said, would you examine her? And they quickly examined her, and I said, can we do anything? Because she was, as I said,
bleeding.
Wrapped up in blood and bullets. So they said we can put her on the heart-lung machine and see if we can revive her, because right now she has no pulse. So I said, then what are we waiting for? My immediate thought was that we should be, at that time, didn't know who had done this. So I thought the main thing is to keep her body safe. So the first thing that we should do is get her into a place where her body is safe. That was my immediate reaction. So I said, then what are we waiting for? Let's take her to the operation theatre. I thought that would be the safest place, and no one is allowed to enter the theatre without proper protocol. The lift and up to the 8th floor. The operation theatre is on the 8th floor. So normally people can't get there easily. So that is how it happened.
So by that time, crowd was building up outside.
By that time, just a little crowd. No, but by the time the
news had spread.
It had not spread really, but within a few minutes, it had spread. And with Mrs. Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi also had come. And on what she said was, she has been shot. So we knew, I mean, you could see that there were bullets. Bullets on her chest, bullets on the trolley, bullets falling down on the ground. So there were so many bullets around that one knew she had been shot. And then, of course...
And you also mentioned she was driven by R.K. Dhawan in his personal vehicle, not the ambulance, because the driver was not there.
The normal protocol is that an ambulance is stationed at the Prime Minister's house. And the ambulance was stationed there, but it was on the side. And the security at the gate couldn't see that ambulance. So if the driver was not there, they may have made sure that the driver was sitting there. But the driver had gone off probably for a cup of tea or for a smoke. I don't know. He was not there. So Dhawan thought, because the first shot that was made was hit her in the leg.
Okay.
And she fell down. And when she fell down, that's when Dhawan went rushing to get the ambulance. And by the time he came back and saw there was no driver, then he thought the best is just to put her in his car and take her to the hospital. So Dhawan put her in his car.
And she also had a very rare blood group.
She had a B minus blood group, which is relatively rare. And protocol had dictated that you keep 2 bottles of blood in the fridge for the Prime Minister. Those 2 bottles finished in minutes. And then Dr. Safaya had to decide what to do. So we decided that give her universal donor. O minus are universal donors, and O minus is freely available. So he was ringing up all hospitals in Delhi. So we collected, Dr. Safaya collecting the blood group. And by that time, when the health minister and the director at that time, Dr. Tandon, and institute body members had come to the hospital. So Dr. Tandon, when the health minister saw me and Dr. Tandon, so he told Dr. Tandon, we haven't signed her appointment, but you all work together. So we said, no problem. We were good friends. So we will handle the situation. And Mr. Shankaranand, who was the health minister at that time, he got busy calling his political friends so that they had to decide that if Mrs. Gandhi cannot be revived, then who's going to be the Prime Minister? They did not want a gap, a power gap in the political sphere. So they said to us that you keep on working, because neither the President of India, Gyani Zail Singh, nor Rajiv Gandhi, who was the Vice President of the Congress Working Committee, and nor P.C. Alexander, who was the Special Secretary to the Prime Minister, all 3 were not in town. So that there not be a power gap, Shankaranand called his political people in the Congress committee so that they were discussing how to handle the situation.
So how much time were you given, and who told you, like, around this time you should declare her
In the
dead?
meanwhile, Vice President of India was Mr. Venkataraman and G. Parthasarthi, who was Special Secretary or Special Advisor really to the Prime Minister. They both came. And we organized that they sit in the veranda outside the operation theatre. So they told us that you will not announce anything at yet. And the surgeon then when the political people decided, so they said till Rajiv Gandhi comes back. They were discussing. So we were told that you all are not announcing anything. So it took us 4 hours till we kept on, the surgeons kept on giving blood through the neck veins, and it kept draining out through the abdomen for 4 hours.
Did you find it difficult to embalm the body?
Yeah. That also because the embalming fluid has to be injected through the veins. But the moment you were injecting the embalming fluid, it was coming out through the abdomen, so you really couldn't embalm her. So it was decided by the Department of Anatomy who did the embalming that they would just make sure that the face was kept.
So with all this going on, you also took care of your staff, especially members from the Sikh community, because I think by that time the word had gone out and people's anger was kind of, people were getting volatile. So how?
So immediately, of course, when it was clear that we have to wait till these people come back, so first thing was to get, so in the meanwhile, these two children, Rahul and Priyanka also were bought. So I told Sonia, Dr. Tandon told me, you look after Sonia and we will take care of arranging for the political class that soon will be in the hospital. So I said, okay, and I told Sonia, as people come to meet you, give me an indication. Should I let them in or not? Who are going to come anyway. So we made arrangements for their seating. And Vice President Venkataraman and Parthasarthi were sitting outside the operation theatre. So that is the arrangement that was going on till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when Gyani Zal Singh, he had gone to the Middle East. He was in Yemen. And it was easier for him to come back to India than for Rajiv Gandhi, who was on an election tour to the northeast of India. The roads, the communications at that time and that point in time were poor. And by the time you could get to him, Gyani Zail Singh around 3 o'clock came back. And as he came back, of course, he was shocked. But more than shocked, he was, I think, afraid, because he'd heard that 2 Sikh bodyguards were responsible for this. So he came, sat for a few minutes, talked with Sonia, and he went away. And then we were waiting for Rajiv Gandhi to come. Then 4 o'clock, Rajiv Gandhi came. And all this time, the political class with Shankaranand in the Operation Anteroom were discussing. You could hear voices going on, but not exactly what they were saying. So they then concluded that they're going to declare Rajiv as the Prime Minister. So that's when the Vice President and Mr. Parthasarthi told me that you will not declare anything till Rajiv comes.
But what a day it must have been. At the end of it all, what was your emotion?
Well, just before, we had decided that now we can't revive her. I then told Sonia that you'll go home, please, and get a set of clothes so that we can change her clothes. And, the sari was all soaked in blood. So we needed a change of clothes. And you'll go home and please get a set of clothes. Just then, Mr. Gautam Kaul, he was from the police IP service, but he was police service, and he came because he was a relation. And he asked me, are all medico-legal formalities over? So I said, medico-legal? We have looked at the medical formalities, but what are the legal formalities I have to get done? So he said, there'll be an inquiry and you will have. I said, tell me what are the legal formalities so that we can complete them. So he said, number one, you want a post-mortem report. Now, we had only surgical notes, but no formal post-mortem report. There's a format for the post-mortem report, so we had not filled that format. He said that's number one. And the post-mortem report will also include photographs. And number three, you want a ballistic report. So I said, look, I can get you a post-mortem report. I'll call the forensic chief and he'll make a post-mortem report. We can get the photographer and get you photographs. But how do I get a ballistic expert? I don't know any ballistic expert. So he said, he wrote down on a piece of paper, I gave him a piece of paper, wrote down the name of the ballistic expert, and he said the office is on Lodi Road. To get the ballistic expert on. I said, look, people are on car tops, they're on the building, they are everywhere. There's not a place by which you can go downstairs and go through. And ballistic expert, he said, you have to have that to complete the legal formalities. So I called the security officer. He was a smart guy. So I said, here, this is the name of the ballistic expert. The office is on Lodi Road. Catch whatever vehicle you can and get this man here before 5 o'clock. I need a ballistic report. So he went. He was, as I said, a smart guy. And I asked him to come up via the dumbwaiter. The dumbwaiter, normally you only transport either food or any equipment that is required. So I said, bring him back through the dumbwaiter. So he got hold of the ambulance and went off to Lodi Road. And this gentleman was just leaving the office. It was around 5 o'clock. So he gave him the slip and said, you're wanted at AIIMS. I'll take you. So he brought the ballistic expert through the dumbwaiter onto the 8th floor. And he came, looked at the body. And I said, here are the x-rays because of, and he said, but I'm told that there were 2 people. And where are the x-rays of the first shot? I said, we haven't done an x-ray of the leg because her immediate thing was to control the blood. But in any case, the x-ray machine is still here and we can do an x-ray of the leg. So immediately we did an x-ray of the leg. And the bullet that was found was totally different from the bullets that were falling down. So we knew that, there was evidence now that 2 different guns had been shot. And since Dhawan had seen 2 different people, so we made a record. So the result of this was that when the inquiry was held after she had passed away, we had all the documents and we were let off the hook, whereas the security was totally involved that they had slipped up. And we didn't even have information that the Prime Minister was being brought to AIIMS. So that is what happened on the first day. So you can imagine my state of mind and the Dr. Tandon's state of mind, what we went through during that period.
Yes, what a day. Even listening to your story, I'm getting goosebumps. We'll just shift a little bit on the remaining focus of the book, which is kind of the evolution of radiology in India. And that story is, of course, about Dr. Sneh Bhargava. So a little bit on that. How you brought in these machines, the CT scan, the ultrasound to AIIMS to advance.
I joined AIIMS in 1961 And at that time, the hospital building had not come up. The hospital was functioning from what was to be the nurses' hostel. So the beds were in the hostel rooms, and the X-ray department was located on the ground floor in what would have been the matron, nursing superintendent's residence. So the X-ray department was located there. 4 rooms, in which in one there was a 500 mA machine, which was for routine radiography as well as for screening. And there was one Odelka camera, which was a miniature uh, film you could do, which was normally used for screening patients for tuberculosis. So that was one machine we had. One machine we had for fluoroscopy, and one for just do bones and trauma. So these were the two, actually in the beginning only two, then we added the third one for trauma later on, which was across the hall, not in this complex, where there were only two machines, the chief's office, the radiographer's office, the storeroom where you had chemicals and films stored, and I was reporting from what was the storeroom. So this was what we had in the beginning.
So is that how radiology was looked down upon by other clinicians?
Radiology was a back processing room, you can call, because they considered us as photographers. You do the X-ray and send it to us, and we are knowledgeable enough to look at the X-rays and continue with whatever treatment is required. Now that had to be changed. We were competent in looking at images, but we were also competent in looking at symptoms. That the image that is produced on an X-ray doesn't give you the diagnosis if you do not have the clinical history. So we were demanding, give us clinical history and we will give you good reports. And to convert from being a back processing room department to come into frontline medicine took a long time and a lot of convincing of all the clinical departments who had heads who were, experts in their own fields. So that was how we started.
And we have heard that you also were known to have the third eye, because by looking at the X-ray report, you could even diagnose the disease.
Yeah. So I had been trained in the UK, and I came back to India after I had consulted my mentor, should I come back? Because at that time, diagnosis and therapy were not separated in India, and it was separated in the UK. And I had done the diagnostic part. So I wrote to my mentor saying, should I come back only with diagnostic qualifications, or should I spend another 18 months and do radiotherapy? So he wrote back to me saying that come back. In due course, radiotherapy and diagnosis will be separated in India. And right now, All India Institute of Medical Sciences is being set up. I have already moved there, and you should aim to come back and come and work with me. AIIMS clinical departments had not started, so there was no question of getting into AIIMS straight away. So I came and joined the Irvine Hospital as an assistant radiologist externally and started working. And then my chief, who had already shifted to AIIMS, told me that, look, you have done enough. 1 year I did there and got a lot more experience, which I could have never got in England because there are not so many people there. And he said, now that you join Lady Harding, you will get the stamp of a lecturer, and it will be easy for you to come to AIIMS because AIIMS lowest level was assistant professor. Then by that time, the AIIMS was ready for assistant professorship. I appeared for the interview.
Was it
Got
difficult to convince government to get these expensive equipment to the country?
At that time, there was no other equipment. The only imaging source was X-ray.
No, in later years, when you got the CT scan.
It was impossible. One would have thought that since AIIMS was created by an act of parliament and as an autonomous institute, that we would not have difficulty in getting funds. But that's not true. There was extreme difficulty in getting funds. The government did not have enough funds, and the health budget was 0.9% of GDP. So how much could they give us? So it was very difficult. And one was really begging around just to get more funds. But in 65, the hospital came up. And when the hospital came up, then we had rooms. In the nurses' hostel, we didn't even have rooms. Even if we got equipment, we couldn't install it. But when we moved to the main hospital building, then Rockefeller decided that they would donate equipment. But we got equipment. And since we got equipment, then I decided that what we have, we must make full use of. And we used various methods to be able to get the best out of the equipment we had. And that helped us in convincing the clinical faculty also that radiology meant something and they couldn't really function without our help.
Ma'am, one last question. Ever since I was a young health reporter, we have always heard Dr. Sneh Bhargava calls spade a spade. She's not afraid of anything. She's a no-nonsense woman. And in your book, you have highlighted incidences about, political interference and even a lot of other cases, like from Lady Hardinge Medical College, one case of stealing radium needles, and how people from the ministry or people would call you or maybe send you. So 100% it was difficult to, fight these odds, but you did with so much courage at that point in time. And then now you decide to write it in the book after so many years. So just tell us a little bit about that. Where did you derive all your motivation from in those days? And then you have this boldness to put it out in print.
Well, I would think that my mother was a very strong lady, and she was very keen that we girls get educated. And I was the first child of my parents. And at the age of 5, my mother packed me off to Sacred Heart Convent, Dalhousie, because my father was in the judicial service, and he would be transferred every 2-3 years, as was the normal thing. So she told my father that her education will be hampered because we'll be transferred. Let's send her to a boarding school.
At the age of 5?
At the age of 5, they packed me off to Sacred Heart Convent, Dalhousie. 2 years later, my younger sister, who arrived, she also was packed off there. So we got our basic training in the convent, which was always disciplined. It was run by the nuns. They were disciplined, and they made sure that the students who got in were acquired discipline the way it should be.
So that was the place which also hardened you in some ways?
Yeah, hardened you to, yes, that this is a discipline that you have to follow, and you can't break the laws. This is the protocol, and this is what you will have to do. So like at night when you go to bed, before you were going to bed, you went through a corridor, took off your shoes, buttoned the 2 shoes together, and threw them in the bin so that they were polished at night, and in the morning you could wear them. That was the sort of discipline in the convent in Dalhousie. I spent 5 years there. Then my father got transferred to Lahore, and Lahore had had a Sacred Heart convent also. So then we were transferred from the Dalhousie convent to the Lahore convent. And there I stayed there till I did my matriculation. So the whole training was very disciplined. And I absorbed all that training. So not afraid of anything, could acquire this sense, call a spade, and get on. You don't wait for a decision. Make a decision and get on, move. Whatever way, whatever is required to be done has to be done without fear.
And I think when you also do it honestly, the results are also in your favor. They're always positive, as it happened in most of the cases.
Yeah, that's true.
Dr. Bhargav, thank you so much. I'm amazed at your stamina.
And thank you very much for that.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful.